Hey. Welcome to episode 9 of the Teacher Goals podcast. This is your host, Erica Terry. And as always, I am super excited to be hanging out with you all tonight and so excited about our guests. I remember on episode 1, it feels like it was so long ago, but it's been about 2 months ago. The very first episode, I put the question out there, like what topics do you all want to see us discuss on the Teacher Goals podcast? And someone in the audience said special education. And when I looked at our lineup, I was like, that is missing. Like we didn't have that. So tonight, whoever you were, thank you for the great suggestion because we have two phenomenal guests that are going to be with us tonight as well as at the Teacher Goals conference this weekend. I have been talking about it for weeks now. And so I want to know, put an emoji in the chat. Let me know. Did you get your ticket for the Teacher Goals conference yet? I want to know who's going to meet us there starting tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are going to have a ball. There are so many presentations, and then we have the comedy shows. That's what I am looking forward to the most. Let me be honest. I have not had a good laugh, like just that belly laugh, in such a long time. And so I am looking forward to Casey Mack on Friday evening. And then we have Brianna Richardson Saturday evening. And so I know it's going to be filled with laughs, filled with fun. So if you haven't gotten your ticket yet, go ahead and register at teachergoals.com/conference. Get that ticket. It's absolutely free for you to attend the entire live event. Like where else are you going to get 2 comedy shows for free? Nowhere. So make sure you go ahead and get your ticket right now and meet us there tomorrow. I am so excited and looking forward to meeting and seeing all of you there. And I am going to put my question up. I know some people have already started answering because we have this question every week. Tell me where you're from, your role in education, and I added a little something to it because I want to know, who are you excited to see tomorrow and Saturday? I know I'm excited about the comedy shows. Who are you excited to see? And so, Rachel, thank you from Trinidad. So excited that you are here with us. We have Martin. Hello. We have Gazelle, who is here with us from Colombia. I love all of these international guests. Hello, Maria. Super excited that you're here. Mark is here from New York. Hello. Guadalupe says, I will. So I think that means that you're going to be at the conference tomorrow. So we are happy and excited about that. We have Greg from Canada. Hello. They are coming in so fast. Let me see. We have Ahmad. Hello. So excited that you're here. We have Mikhail from Ohio. I'm wondering what part, because I'm from Cleveland Heights. So if you're from Cleveland, let me know. But I love my Ohioans. I see that we have another one here, Zuma. So hello. So excited that you're here. We have Hazel here from the Philippines. Hello, welcome. I'm so excited that you are here. We have Kimmy from London, who is a midday supervisor in a special needs school. So we're definitely going to be talking your language tonight. So super excited that you're here, and feel free to join in the conversation. Pamela says she's a proud mother and excited to see her daughter, Brianna McKinney, as a presenter on the 12th. And she is actually one of our guests tonight. So I am super excited that you're here, Mom. Thank you for the support. We have Kia checking in from Pittsburgh. I actually love Pittsburgh. There's this cake that I had there that is so good. I can't remember the name, but I'm going to have to look it up. I love Pittsburgh, though. Mikhail, Cleveland. Look at that. Cleveland in the house. Super excited. super excited. We have someone, I think this is the first time I've seen China. Hello. I'm excited that you're here. Then we have Joanna from Michigan, who says she's missed the conferences. They are this weekend, and with your VIP ticket, you get 90 days of replay access. So even if you can't show up live, but you're like, oh my gosh, I want to see these amazing presentations, then click on that same link that you see there. Grab your VIP ticket, and then you will be able to go back over the next 3 months and watch the sessions as often as you like. So definitely grab that ticket. And so with that being said, I'm so thankful, so excited that you all are with us tonight. And I am going to get into our interview. I'm so excited to talk all things special ed. But before we get there, just in case this is your first time with us, I just want to kind of share with you how we flow on Thursday nights. And so we're here every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I bring the guests up, we do our interview, and immediately following the interview is your opportunity to ask and get answers to your specific questions. And so as they are talking, if a question comes into your mind, just go ahead and put it in the chat, because I will pull it up after the interview and they will be answering questions. And so this is your chance to ask both of our experts any question that you like. And so with that being said, tonight we are talking all things special ed. As you all already seen, we have Brianna McKinney, who is with us, and we have Dr. Sam Fecich. I feel like I messed that up, and I apologize. When I bring her up, I'm gonna have her correct me on that. I promise I practiced it with her and got it right. So I don't know what just happened, but I'm gonna call her Dr. Sam from here on out. And so I'm gonna be bringing both of them up right now. All right. Hello, ladies. How are you?
Hello, doing great. How are you?
Oh, I am great. I am great. So now give me that last name again, because I know I just
You're
jacked
doing
it
so
up.
good. Yeah. Fecich.
Fecich. All right. I told you guys I had it. I was that teacher that would mess up a name, and I would just tell the students right at the beginning of the year, like, look, I apologize. I love you, but it's just these names, they trip me up sometimes. So welcome, ladies. How are you tonight?
Good, you?
I am great. And so we are going to just dive right in tonight. We're going to be talking, special ed strategies, tips, it's a round table. Both of our guests tonight are presenters at the conference tomorrow and Saturday. And so, they're just going to be sharing some knowledge, and then you can come learn even more from them at the conference this weekend. And so we're going to start off with our first question. Tell us about who you are and what you do. Brianna, you're right in the middle, right next to me. So I'm going to go ahead and start with you tonight.
All right. Hi, everyone. Hi, Mom. My name's Briona McKinney, and I'm currently a teacher consultant that helps to support autistic students, their teachers, and their school teams. So the district that I work in is located in Michigan, in the Metro Detroit area, and the program services the whole county for schools who may not be able to support the needs of their autistic students for whatever reason.
Awesome. Sounds great. And we're going to learn much more about it tonight. So super excited. Dr. Sam, I'm going to pass the mic on over to you. Tell us about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have the honor of teaching future educators from elementary, special, middle, and secondary at Grove City College. You might know Grove City from the amazing outlet mall, but we have an even better education department. So it's a fantastic job. I absolutely love what I do, impacting future educators Monday through Friday with educational technology and special education. I also get to oversee a few of our special ed majors during their student teaching. So it's awesome to see them grow from freshman year. Like, I think I'm going to be a teacher. This sounds cool, to rocking it in student teaching. So it is
Yes.
so much fun. I absolutely love what I do each day.
Love it. Love it. And so, we all have a story, right? We all, started off as teachers, came into education, and now both of you ladies are helping to empower other educators to achieve success. So, Dr. Sam, I'm going to start with you this time. Kind of give us your story. Like, give us a little bit of the tea. Tell us how you got to working with these college level students that are going to be future educators.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you would have told me this is what I would be doing with my career, like, oh, no way. There's no way I'm teaching college students. That terrified me. So when I was at college, when I was an undergrad, I went to college to be the best first grade teacher the world has ever seen. Spoiler, I never was a first grade teacher, nor did I plan to be a first grade teacher. But one day, my freshman year, my dad calls me up on my flip phone, and he says to me, "Hey, Sammy, I just saw on the news that you can add special ed to your major. You should go do that." And I was thinking, oh no, Dad, I'm not adding special ed to my major. Why would I want to do that? I just want to be an elementary teacher, and that's all I want to be. And after lots of conversation and dialogue with my advisor and my family, I decided to add in special ed. And I added it for the wrong reasons. I added it just to be more marketable, thinking, oh, I can get a job easier and then I can be the awesome first grade teacher that I was born to be. Well, I ended up going into my coursework and getting into fields and observations like, oh my gosh, this is where I need to be. I did some observations. You mentioned Pittsburgh earlier, so that's where I'm from. There's a Children's Institute in Pittsburgh, and I was able to do some observations there. And I was like, this is amazing. So I had no idea what the world of special ed would open up to me, and I was so glad that I added it. Fast forward a couple of years, got a master's in special education, certification in educational technology. And my first job was working with students with severe special needs. So my first class had 8 students, I think about 5 adults. And I was the youngest person in there. And I had this moment, and Brianna and Eric, maybe you guys can relate to this, where you had this moment of, okay, let's start this lesson. Where's the teacher? Oh, wait, that's me. I should probably do something. So I had like this out of body brief second experience. And, just working with these students was phenomenal. Doing things like literacy, daily living skills, numeracy skills, hygiene skills, all sorts of different things really opened up my world. And I remember walking down the hall one day, and in the storage closet was a smartboard, and it was on wheels, and that was cool at the time. And I dragged it out of the storage closet, going down the tile of the floor, ka-chunk, 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 and I pop it into my classroom, and I turn it on, and we start using it. And to see how educational technology can make the impossible possible for some of our students was mind blowing. It was so cool. And I got to get a little taste of it there. So then I was like, well, I got to learn more. So as teachers, we get to keep learning. We are lifelong learners. So I was able to go ahead and get my certification and another master's in ed tech, and then a PhD in learning design and technology. And then when I saw the job at Grove City teaching future teachers about ed tech and special ed, I was like, no way, no way. I had to refresh the browser a couple times, drink more coffee. Am I really seeing this? But it was true, and it was so cool. And I'm so glad that my journey has led me here. And it all started with a conversation with my dad. So Dad, if you're listening, thank you so much.
Thanks to those dads. Gotta love them. Yes. So, Brianna, you work with autism. Kind of tell us, how did you get started with that?
So this is my 16th year in education, and I actually went to school to be a dancer. So I was on scholarship at Western Michigan University in their dance program. And during my junior year, really started questioning my purpose and quickly shifted gears to education, specifically special education. So my undergraduate work is in special education. My master's work was focused on autism. And then I'm currently enrolled in a postgraduate certificate program at Oakland University in human diversity, inclusion, and social justice. And I hope to get my doctorate in organizational leadership. So I'm kind of, on a journey, which we all are, but a purposeful journey, I guess, an intentional journey to continue to impact and make change that's going to benefit, you know, kids everywhere, is my hope. For 13 years, I spent my time in a classroom that supported students, autistic students with high support needs. So again, the district I work in services the entire county that we are in. And so local districts who maybe aren't able to support their students the best they can, or, you know, students' support needs are higher than what they have resources for, they would go through a referral process and can come to our district and stay for as long as they need. Some students stay, you know, in Michigan, we're really lucky that services go until 26 years old. So we have an incredible adult transition program that services adults until 26. So some students come to our program and they stay because their needs are met. And other students come to our program and we are able to put those supports in place and they can go back to their local district at some point. So kind of what sparked my flame in helping others. And right now, because I'm a teacher consultant, I still work with students and that's where my love really truly lies. But I'm working more with teams, teachers and teams. And what has really sparked that interest is the mentorship I received when I was hired into the program that I currently work in. Without that mentorship, her name is Nancy, I love her very much, that she provided, I'm not sure that I would have lasted as long as what I have. And I'm not sure if I would be doing what I'm currently doing. And what I really hope to do is to give people that unconditional support where they feel really like there's no problem that we can't solve together. There's no problem that's too big. You know, if we're able to identify a need, that there's really nothing I wouldn't do to help them. So I never want somebody to feel alone in this work because it's really important work and it's really heavy work that they have in front of them every day. And so I never want people to feel alone in that. And I'm also really driven by change. So change can be really scary for some people, you know, but it's really necessary. So if there's something that's not working or no longer benefiting students, you know, there's an answer. And, you know, it just takes the work and the time to come together, identify the need, you know, problem solve, get to work, and then reflect at the end of the day. So those are kind of the things that are currently, you know, fueling my fire and my passion for making change.
Yes, and I love this idea of making change because what we often don't think about, I was laughing with them before we got started because I'm like, you know, I was general ed, but I do a lot of work with co-teaching. So I kind of like have my foot in the world of education, but not really a special educator. And one thing in the work that I've done consulting and working with these co-teaching teams, like we don't realize how much a special education teacher really has on their shoulders, right? So they have like instruction and differentiation, and then they have these IEPs and, you know, all meetings and paperwork and just so much on them. So tonight, I really want to spend the rest of our time like really equipping our special educators with some tools, tips, strategies that they can use to be successful, to feel like they're, you know, walking in purpose, to not feel like so stressed and overwhelmed. And so we're just going to jump into tools, tips, and strategies. Who wants to start?
You can go
Dr.
ahead,
Sam.
Well, actually, Brianna, you brought up the importance of identity first versus disability first language just in your background story. I would love for if I have future teachers listening in on this to learn more about the importance of language and how we approach students with disabilities, because sometimes we've never had experience. So how do we so go for it.
I appreciate that. So some listeners may have already picked up on the fact that I'm using identity first language instead of person first language. And for those teachers or that are on the call, that might be shocking or new, because in our teacher prep courses, we're taught to use person first language. But what we're hearing from the autistic community especially is that there's a preference for identity first language because their autism is such an inherent part of their identity. And so instead of saying, for example, person or student or child with autism, I'll be saying throughout tonight, an autistic person or an autistic child or an autistic student. So, if this is a new concept, I would suggest people, read and research, find ways to learn the perspectives of, actually autistic individuals. And a great place to start, honestly, would be the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network website. It's an incredible resource from autistic individuals who are sharing their perspectives and having resources for other autistic individuals as well. So, as always, though, in talking with somebody, if you learn differently, if there's a preference for what they would like you to call them, you're going to honor that and respect that. So tonight, I'm using identity first language. If you meet somebody, an autistic individual, and they say differently, you would respect their wishes. So I think, moving forward, that's how I'll speak today. And I'm glad. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to explain that to listeners.
Awesome. All right. So, tools, tips, strategies. Toss out, if you had to give just one tip or one tool or one strategy, like what's that just one thing that every special education teacher just needs to hear or learn or try? Like, what is that?
Sure. So I'll jump in here. So working with a lot of our adult learners going into college, some students might have a learning disability, working on some of those executive functioning skills. So getting them to get organized as a first year freshman student across any major can be a little difficult. So a couple of tools that I love recommending for my students would be Onenote. This is a great tool for students it kind of takes, I don't know, whatever. We were in school, there was that Trapper Keeper. You remember that with like the really annoying Velcro when we would open it up? Mine was Lisa Frank. It was beautiful in neon colors, but it kind of takes an idea of a 3-ring binder and it puts it digitally. So I can have sections for all of my classes. I can have a notebook just for my fall semester or my spring semester. I can have sections for all my classes. And then I can get even more organized if I really wanted to get into it. And I can have sections for reading and notes and homework and quizzes and all those things. I can also go in and I can put in documents. So if my teacher or my professor is sending me a PowerPoint or a PDF or a Word doc, I can just pop that right into my OneNote notebook as well. And I can write notes anywhere. So it's not like a Google Doc where it's linear note taking. I can write anywhere. I can draw on this. I can insert videos and images and links. It's a really powerful tool for organizing content. And then I don't know about you guys, but I am definitely a person who loves to check off the box and cross it off my list. I can do that right within OneNote as well. So I can tag items as things I need to do and I can check them off. I can cross them off. And if I'm taking notes for a class and my teacher says this is going to be important, you need to know this for the test, I can tag things in my notes as important. And then it'll pull a summary page of all the things I've tagged as important. So creating a really nice study guide for myself. So OneNote is definitely a fantastic tool for organization, getting stuff, getting your content organized, your notes taken, your homework all in one spot. And it lives across platforms. So that's fantastic too. I can use it on my phone or my laptop. So that is one of my favorites. I have another one to share, but I'm going to have Brianna jump in here.
Well, I'm going to jump in really quick because as you were talking, I was like, wow, that would be a great tool. Like if I was doing progress monitoring and wanted to, keep whatever the student evidence is, or if I wanted to take some notes as a reminder to either share with my co-teacher or, make sure that I write in my report. It just really sounds like a great tool that you can use even in the classroom or even in your role as a special education teacher to organize all of the paperwork and all of the work that you do. So thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. So Brianna, your favorite number one tip, tool, or strategy for special education teachers?
All right. Well, I'm going to take us way back to like the foundation because a lot of times when teachers ask for the strategies or the tricks or the tips, and one of those things is given, but it doesn't align with the foundation or the approach that a teacher has, a lot of times we'll hear, oh, that'll never work, or, oh, yeah, it might work for some teachers, but not me, right? So like if those strategies that they're really asking for and wanting don't align, there's a little bit of a disconnect. So really what I'm examining and asking people to do is to go all the way back to the language that they use to describe their students and the language that they use when they're talking to their students. So one of the biggest and best strategies I would ask people to do, if we're going to go all the way back to the foundational level where we're examining language, because we know language is connected to the beliefs we have, and those beliefs are then connected to our approach and our actions. Write a list of the words and phrases you say in IEP meetings about your students, in behavior plan meetings about your students, when you're running across, the hall to your best teacher friend and you're really frustrated and you're venting. Like, take inventory on the words you're using to describe your students, because they're heavy words, they're meaningful words. And if the words that we're using to describe our students are based on a compliance-based approach instead of a strengths-based approach, that's really going to impact the beliefs that we hold about our students, which is going to impact our approach with our students and the things that we do put in place, right? And so I guess my biggest tip for people is to, let's say you're at a meeting tomorrow, an IEP meeting, just write down the words that you use to describe your students. You don't have to do it for a whole week, but, just start taking inventory on the things that you say to your students and about your students. And at the Teacher Goals conference, we dive a lot deeper into how all of those things are connected and what it really looks like to have a compliance-based classroom and what it really looks like to have a strengths-based classroom where you're incorporating student strengths into opportunities for participation.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And Dr. Sam, you said you had one more, so I'm going to swing it back on over to you. Yeah, for your second tool that you love.
Yeah, of course. So like I said before, so I teach coursework related to ed tech and special ed. So when Microsoft, it's another Microsoft one, when Microsoft came out with Immersive Reader, it knocked my teacher socks off. This is something I wish that I had when I was a special ed teacher, so it would have saved me so much teacher time. So Immersive Reader, if you're not familiar with it, is an amazing tool that you can use to do some common accommodations, like making the font size larger or using contrast. So for one of the students that I worked with, whenever I was a special ed teacher, he had a visual impairment. So anything that he had printed, like a worksheet, a workbook, a textbook, we had to have like that clear yellow like filament paper on top of it, so it pops with that contrast. This does it for it, like for like the book automatically. It just like you just click the button, ta-da, it's there. So Immersive Reader does things like that, but it also has options for breaking the spacing apart. So it'll break character spacing apart, words apart, and lines of text. And also another strategy we were using a lot was the index card strategy, where we have the index card over top of text, and every time we read a line, we bring that index card down so we can track. Immersive Reader, called line track, what's called track or line spacing, something like that, but it does it for me. So it'll like gray out the screen and highlight the line of text and just automatically go. It does text to speech. I feel like an infomercial when I talk about Immersive Reader because I love it so much. Also, it combine superpowers with Boardmaker, Speaking Dynamically Pro. And Brianna, I know you know about Boardmaker. You work with autistic individuals. I mean, Boardmaker is fantastic for their symbol supports, and it has that embedded right in. It has a picture dictionary. Yep. It even has translate features for working with students who are learning English as a language. It'll translate the word or the document, and it's available in OneNote, in Teams, in Word, maybe in PowerPoint. I can't remember 100%. It also reads math and lots of other languages. So, oh my gosh, if I had Immersive Reader whenever I was teaching, it would save me so much time. I absolutely adore it. And now ed tech companies like Nearpod and Lumio have it embedded within their tools. So if I'm using a Nearpod slide deck or a Lumio slide deck, my student can just click on that little icon for Immersive Reader. It reads the text aloud. It does that contrast for me. Oh my gosh, it is so beautiful and it is absolutely wonderful. So thank you, Microsoft, for upping the accessibility game, because it helps all students now, right? I mean, so now I don't have to
Yes.
have just this thing enabled for my one student who might need it, but everybody can have access to it, because why not?
Yes, and wow, I have to check that out, and I definitely, it will turn your special as a special education teacher. It'll turn you into a super teacher. Like it sounds
Absolutely.
like right. It saves you so much time with implementing the accommodations in the IEP. So that is amazing. Definitely can't wait to check that out. And so we're going to really end tonight with this last question. We are the Teacher Goals podcast, right? So it's all about, helping teachers be their best, helping them achieve success. And so just thinking about like the tips, tools, strategies that you shared tonight. What is like a teacher goal that teachers will be able to achieve by applying these principles? And so, Brianna, I'm gonna start with you with the first person language. Like if you start to shift your mindset and really use that first person language, like what will teachers be able to achieve by doing that?
Yeah. Again, it does depend on who you're working with, right? Because
Right.
the autistic community especially is sharing their preference that identity first language, but that's not the case for all people with disabilities. So really listening to who you're standing in front of and who you're serving, and honoring that. I think that's the biggest thing. I think me really looking at the difference between a strengths-based and a compliance-based classroom. If we put a definition to a compliance-based classroom, that's really putting a set of restrictive conditions over the individual needs or the individual interests and preferences of your students. So, the restrictive conditions come before student need. And if we think about a strengths-based classroom, that's respecting and honoring the unique interests and preferences of the students that you have, and incorporating that in the opportunities for participation. We don't want to have a compliance-based classroom where we're ignoring clear signs of distress, or we're withholding items until a restrictive condition is met, or we're denying breaks. We really want to create a classroom where the preferred items are available, that lessons are including interests throughout, that we're honoring and offering breaks. Really examining and being curious enough about what your classroom looks like, and how you can gauge that is listening to your students, both with words or communication verbally or speaking that come out, but also in behavior, right? Your students are going to communicate a lot to you through the behavior. So when you see a student, what might they be communicating to you? And are your views of them from a compliance-based lens, or are your views of them from a strengths-based lens? Are you looking at a student who might be exhibiting some behaviors and you're saying, oh, they're just trying to get out of it, or, oh, he does this for attention, like that? Those views, right, those beliefs that you hold are from a compliance-based approach. But if you're looking at your student who's showing some behaviors, and you're looking at that as a true way of communication, and that it's our job to try to figure out what they're trying to communicate, then you can start asking yourself, what is your response to them? And is that from a strengths-based lens? And what is your response communicating back to them? And if that's from a strengths-based lens. So just, taking inventory of your own space, taking inventory of your own classroom, really reading the room and reading your students and getting some information from them. And then, if change needs to happen, that's the next step, is trying to figure out what you need to change to for their benefit.
Awesome. And Dr. Sam, you shared some tech tools with us tonight. So what is a teacher goal that teachers will be able to achieve by using those tools?
Sure. So just to go back to what Brianna had shared, I think that strengths-based classroom, we talked about the the foundations and the language, that's something we can incorporate not just in a special ed class, in any class. And that's an
Right.
exciting place to be in a strengths-based classroom. So thank you so much for shining a light on that. That was really fun to hear
Oh,
about. Yeah, so for mine, I would just say like ed tech doesn't have to be hard or complicated. Take it little steps at a time and it'll come to you. Don't feel like you have to try out all the tools like in the next 24 hours. Try out different things that are going to float your teacher boat and things, and it'll happen. Just practice with it. You don't have to be perfect with it. And sometimes your students know the tools a little bit better than you do. So don't be afraid to ask for help, because I do that all the time with my students. Like, I don't think I shared that right. No, Dr. Fecich, you did not. Can you work on that? I will work on that. So just, being open to feedback and trying out new things a little bit at a time.
I love it. And that is a great place for us to end. Now, I know you guys are going to both be speaking at the TeacherGoals conference this weekend, so they can definitely find you there. But after this weekend, after the conference, where can they learn more about you and your work? Dr. Sam, I'm going to start with you.
Sure. So you can find me over on Twitter or Instagram. I'm at @Fecich, first initial S, and then Fecich, Fecich. You can also check me out on my site, sfecich.com. And I also have a podcast, because why not? Because why not, right? It's called the Edgy Magic Podcast, and it's designed for future and new teachers. So check it out wherever you listen to this podcast. Hopefully you'll listen to that one too.
wonderful.
Love it. And Brianna, where can they find you?
Yeah, people can find, I'm kind of taking the opportunity from TeacherGoals and the conference that's going to be this weekend, putting some of my content from that presentation on an Instagram account. So people can follow that at strengths-based educators.com or strengths-based educators on Instagram. And then there's an email address at strengths-based-educators@gmail.com. And I'm going to check out your podcast, because I'm super excited to hear.
I think I need to have you on, Brianna. Just say it. I mean, I think
this conversation after tonight. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
yeah.
I am loving that. Edu Magic, like it's in my head now, so I'm gonna have to check it out too. Well, I want to thank you, ladies, for bringing magic tonight. I'm super excited to see both of your presentations this weekend. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Erica.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. So as promised, it is Q&A time. I've already seen some great questions and comments coming in. So I'm going to scroll up and we are just going to dive in. So if you have a question, make sure that you leave it in the comments. And I'm going to start with Mark, who says, I'm 51, went to college to become a special education teacher. So I just wanted to kind of give him some kudos for that. He said, my son is on a spectrum, ADHD. So when he influenced me in a big way as a dad and a teacher. And I just wanted to, give you kudos on that and say, we are so thankful for you. We appreciate and so glad that you are here with us tonight. So we've had some great testimonies in the comments tonight. Jillian says she went to college for elementary art teaching, found it wasn't a thing for her. So she's been in daycare for 7 years, loves it, had a autistic child, got into special education, and now she's a special education aide. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for all of the work that you do. Our paraeducators are so important to our success. So we thank you. We really thank you for that. Yeah, so Mark says true. So tools will help us in our classroom, and he likes using the mind frame chart. And I love, the TeacherGoals community is always sharing great resources. And so thank you for that one. Dick says, I have a nephew who is high functioning but has autism. What can you advise that teachers do or use in the classroom that parents can also do or use at home? Great question.
Good question. I'll jump in if that's okay. I would say visual supports, organizational and visual supports are going to help tremendously. So you could have like a schedule for when a child comes home from school. What's the first thing that they're going to do when they walk in the door? What comes after that? Is it they come in and they have a snack at the kitchen table. So how can that be visually represented? It can be, if you have a student who is a reader, that could just be the word or a phrase. But if you have a student who isn't a reader, you can pair a symbol like Sam was talking about. You could pick it up on Google, but there's some incredible tools out there to find some symbols that would match, and you can put a symbol and a word together. After snack, it's time to read. After we read, we're going to go play outside. After we play outside, we're going to take a bath, then dinner, and then bed. So having visual supports embedded in your child's home life, I know that those are being used at school to help support students. So anything that you can do to help organize and visually represent your expectations for your children or your students is going to really benefit them a lot.
Awesome.
I love that. So the power of visuals, absolutely. I would also say try to, if you can, depending on how old the child is, incorporate as much independence as possible, because you want to make sure we're getting them ready to go out into society after they graduate. I know you said 26 for your state, it's 21 for mine. So as independent as possible. Maybe they can get the ingredients to make their snack, or they can choose, what do you want to play with outside? Thinking about what kind of clothes do I need to wear outside. For us, I think this week has been every season here in Pennsylvania. So figuring out what you're going to wear, what's the best thing to wear outside, being able to make those choices, even in those small things, as in, what am I going to have for snack? What can I play with outside? And what am I going to wear? So making as independent choices and supporting independence in the areas in which you can, and then scaffolding as we go.
I love it. Love it. Great responses. The next question we have, Grayson says, speaking of the importance of language, is special education the best term to describe the education that our students sometimes need?
Ooh, he put this here on purpose. This is my
He did.
Thank you, Grayson McKinney, for your wonderful question. I think, education is accessible. So the work that we do in special education, it's really accessible education. And so, I don't think there's anything special that we do. The work that we're doing is accommodating students and giving them the supports that they need to access, what their peers have access to. And so that accessibility is really what we're doing for education. It's not special. We're making it accessible for our students. So I would love to see that term changed from special education to accessible education.
Oh, I love that. Yes, yes, that's awesome. I was also thinking before we started recording or going live, we talked about the importance of what we do can benefit all students. So like you said, we're accommodating, but a lot of students can benefit from the accommodations, whether they have IEPs or 504s. So thinking about, I think I read somewhere that one of the most common accommodations is extra time on tests. So why don't we just give everybody extra time on that test? I'm sure that would help with some stress levels, right? So thinking about what we do for our students can help a lot of our students in the classroom, not just our students who have an IEP or have 504s. But I love that term, Brianna. Also, is there relation there, McKinney?
Right.
That's my husband. So mom and husband.
Love the support and love these responses. We really could, that could be a whole nother episode where we just talk about how, when we do, these accommodations or specially designed instruction, working with small groups, the skills that we were using and implementing with our special education students definitely help all students. So, that could be a whole nother episode. And so I want to thank you. That takes care of all of the questions. And I agree with LaKayla, who says, great learning, such an informative session tonight. Ladies, you have both been awesome. I am super excited to see you all at the conference tonight. Tonight. Tomorrow night, Saturday. Super excited to see you all at the conference. I hope to see everyone that is with us tonight at the conference. If you have not already done so, this is my last time saying it this year. If you have not already done so, be sure to grab that free ticket right now. You can go to teachergoals.com /conference, and you can get that ticket, and you will see all of us there all weekend long. I'm super excited about it. And Karen, thank you for making me not feel bad. Thank you for sharing the reminder. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate it. And so thank you all for hanging out with us tonight. We are going to be back next week, same time, same place. And so I will see you then. Have a great night.
Bye, Erica. Bye, Sam.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you.